Welcome to EO Talks, Eastern Oregon's very own talk show, only here on EOAlive.
I'm Darin Harbick. I am running for the United States Senate. So I've been in business my entire life. I started at the age of 22. I had me and my wife opened up our first grocery store. And from that point on, we encompassed it into a restaurant, built a restaurant later, owned a motel. Currently, we own a faith-based state licensed mental health treatment facility, specializing in women with eating disorders. We still have our motel, and I have a logging business. So that's kind of my business background from where I started and where I am today. Yeah, while my kids were growing up, part of giving back to the community and making sure my kids got the best education, got the sports that I thought was important. I joined the school board, and I was on the school board for 14 years while my kids were all going through the McKenzie school system. So I grew up in Oregon my whole life. I've been born and raised on the McKenzie River, which is in Lane County. It's halfway between Sisters and Eugene. And that's where I grew up. I went to school, played all the sports, married my high school sweetheart. We've been married for 32 years. We have 3 children. My oldest is helping me on the campaign. My middle son is running my logging business. Our youngest daughter, who I just had my second grandson 2 days ago, has bought our restaurant. Her and her husband are running the restaurant. I've, like I say, growing up at one point, at age 40, we had 5 separate corporations. We were employing over 100 employees. I was on the school board. I was coaching our high school basketball team, my daughter's high school basketball team. And life was going great. Thought this was over until 2 years ago, when everything that I'd worked hard and worked for got put on hold, and we were told we couldn't do what we thought what I was raised to do, which was to work and provide for my family, provide for our community. And then when the mandate started coming down, that's when kind of got me frustrated. And that's why I decided to kind of put everything on halt. Our businesses, we have managers running those. So now I see myself as standing up for what my grandkid, who are really important to my kids, standing up for Oregonians and saying that we've had enough. And so running for United States Senate is my next calling. A little tiny town called Rainbow, Oregon. Once you leave Springfield, you have a whole bunch of small, little, unincorporated rural towns. And you don't hit another incorporated town until you hit Sisters. So you've got 100 miles of unincorporated little tiny towns. And the one I live in and grew up and was raised in was Rainbow, Oregon. It's right below McKenzie Bridge and in between Blue River. Yeah, so we put a survey out because it's not what I want. It's what the people of Oregon want. What's most important? And the number one thing that keeps coming up is supporting our U.S. Constitution, our First and Second Amendment rights. That's number one. Number 2 is less government regulations, more power to the people and the state. And that's from a federal side. Something that's near and dear to me is our federal forests. I was born and raised in the Willamette National Forest. My dad was a truck driver. So we have all this natural resource, and what happens, and all over Oregon, not just here, but all over Oregon, our forests are burning out of control every single summer for the past 40 years. Hence, Ron Wyden's been in office for 40 years. They've just failed to thin the timber. When the spotted owl came, we never recovered from that fiasco. And we don't reduce the fuel loads. So we've got to start reducing the fuel loads, selectively cutting and thinning the timber. Prescribed burns are the best kind of things you can do. As I travel, once I cross over the mountain into Sisters, you can see the prescribed burns they do all around Black Butte and everything. Those are things that need to continue to happen. We don't have those on the west side. So those are things. And then limiting access to our federal lands. Everywhere I go up every road now is a gate. Well, when you don't maintain the roads, what happens when a lightning strike comes? You can't access a lightning strike. You only got a few minutes to get to that fire, a few hours to get to that fire before it starts going crazy. So opening up these roads and opening up the access needs to start happening also. That would really help our federal forests. Some other issues, obviously, is the border. I spent 3 days on the Arizona-Mexican border last month. And what did I see? I saw a travesty. The wall that Trump had started was up and going, but we were in Sassabee, Arizona, which is one of the most remote places in Arizona along the border wall. And along that section, there's holes everywhere. We traveled 30 miles of border, and we probably found 150 holes in the wall. And when I say hole in the wall, it's a 4 foot to a 10-foot gap, which just allows the human trafficking and the drug cartels to just come and go at will. So that was really an eye-opening. So I see that as being, and we see the fentanyl that's coming in across the southern border. It's not just the southern border. Fentanyl's coming from China. It's coming from all over the place. But we've got to start somewhere, and that somewhere has to be our southern border. We can just see it, just people just coming like crazy. And the drugs are a huge issue, and they're not just a huge issue coming across the southern. Those affect everyone in the whole United States, and homelessness are wreaking havoc, thefts, lawlessness in our streets. So that's where we need to start, and that's where I'm going to push and put all my efforts to stop and fill those gaps. And then once those are done, then we can start working on other issues. But we got to start somewhere, and it's an easy, quick fix. It would have been completed already, and now we see we have the worst problem right now going on the southern border. I want a balanced budget. But balancing the budget's not going to take the deficit down. So Rand Paul has, when he wanted to do this, it was 2 or 3 pennies. Everyone cuts 2 or 3 pennies out of your budget. We can all, you go to the store, you can cut out a little bit here and there. So as a nation, we're going to have to do a little bit less for a while until we get our federal deficit down. And then once we get that down and we can get a balanced budget. I'm in business for 30 years. I can't just run amok and just spend whatever I want to unless it's coming in. And so I've had to do that. I've had to cut back. There's times in 08, 09, 010 when we had that recession. It was tough, but as a business owner, you have to survive and you have to work hard. You have to cut back. I had to lay people off. But that's something we have to do so we can get this back into place. You go to the gas station right now. You go to the grocery store. You see what the prices are. It's unsustainable, and it's continuing to rise as we speak. One of the biggest issues also is the mandates. The federal government is now stepping in and pushing mandates that are just ridiculous. And thank God for our Supreme Court, who just voted against the latest one that would have just crippled America. And those are things that just frustrate me, that even had to go to the Supreme Court, that our current administration, which is the Biden-Wyden, are just pushing issues on American people that we do not want. And we see their unfavorability. The unfavorability is huge right now in that party. So those are, there's many issues. Those are the top of the ticket that are really causing a lot of grief and frustration. And obviously, you can never get away with the voter integrity and voter security that's going on. That's probably my number one when I go around the state. One thing we don't want, we do not want anything to do with federal elections. We do not want the federal government getting involved at all in any state elections. And right now, that's you see them pushing their election stuff. Instead of taking care of our border, instead of taking care of the inflation, we're out pushing federal elections and the filibuster, which is just not what the American people want right now. I don't think they're hearing. And if they're hearing, they just don't care. And so I care what Oregonians think. I care what this nation thinks. And I'm doing this for the people, not for myself. I'm doing it for the greater good for everybody else. Well, Mark Hatfield did a lot of great things, and he was for the people. And so I would say if I was looking at a senator who I would mark myself after, he would be one of the greats. Well, I've been a Christian my whole life. I was raised in the church. So faith is an integral part of how I walk my life and how I live every day. So from a personal standpoint, that feeds me, that keeps me going, that gives me hope. And there is still a lot of hope. You look out in this world right now and you turn on the news and you see nothing but negativity. I want to get in and bring that hope. I feel that that's really important. And it's what keeps me going every day, knowing that this is going to get better. There is good and evil in the world, and good needs to prevail. And so I'm all about that. At this point, we need a good candidate at the top of the ticket. And the Republican side, we sometimes we may not have always had the best candidate. I feel at this time, I am the best candidate at the top of the ticket to win the U.S. Senate seat. And it's very important that we do that. We have to have someone who's actually been in business, has experience. I'm just one of you. And that's what we need. We don't need a career politician. We don't need someone that can say all the right words to say all the right things. We need someone that's lived with the policies that have been in place. We need to have somebody who knows how to live within their means and not just run amok and spend everything you want and expect somebody else to pay for it. You need somebody that's going to listen to the people. You need someone that's going to fight for you. And so I'm not going to talk bad about anybody. I just want people to know there is a man of integrity, and that's me. And I am excited to run. I really welcome people to look into me. Go to my website and watch my video. That's who I am. Ask people around me. I have nothing to hide, and I won't talk bad about anybody. It's just there's enough bad things to do. So I want to focus and look at myself and say, hey, am I doing what I need to do for the people of Oregon? Am I listening to the people of Oregon? Can I do the job effectively? And all those answers when I go hit my pillow every night is like, I can and I will, and I will fight with everything I got for all of Oregonians and this nation, because we need someone who's just not in it for themselves. And I'm not saying any of my other opponents are, but when you've been in Congress for over 40 years, you're there for yourself. Currently, Ron Wyden doesn't live in Oregon. I mean, no, he has a house in Portland, but he lives in New York City with his wife and 3 kids. That needs to be, if I'm going to talk negative about an opponent, I'm going to talk to somebody that doesn't come back to Oregon and live here. We need a senator who, when he's not working in Washington, D.C., comes back to Oregon, listens to the people, and doesn't compromise, doesn't go to the environmental groups and beg for money, go to loggers and beg for money. Stand up for what you believe in. I will always do that. And I will be honest. I will be forthright. And I just think we need somebody who will do that. I will do that for Oregonians.
Next up is our world-famous lightning round. First off, Ducks or Beavers?
Ducks.
Alrighty.
When they're not playing the Beavers.
Ooh.
So if the Beavers are playing, I'm going to root for the Beavers. No question about it. And that's not a political statement. I'm going to root for the Beavers. But when the Ducks are playing the Beavers, I'm 100% Duck.
Alrighty. Well, next up, what is your favorite Oregon landmark?
Well, Blue Pool is phenomenal. And that is right here on the McKenzie River, along the McKenzie River Trail. So that would have to be my number one. It's my local area, and I love that place.
Alrighty. What is your favorite Oregon beer?
I have never drank beer in my entire life.
Really?
So
okay.
I have sold more than anybody. Owning a restaurant, working the bar. But actually, I've never had a sip of alcohol.
Alrighty. Then what is your favorite Oregon-based food or other type of beverage?
I love pizza and soda pop.
Pizza and soda pop. Okay. What is your favorite place in Eastern Oregon?
In Eastern, well, I love Baker City. And the reason I love Baker City is because that's where I won a state championship with my basketball team. So we went there every year. And there's a lot of great things around Baker City. It's kind of cool. And then if you're going to talk, went to Sun River a lot. and Eagle Crest. So Baker's got to be the top just because we won the championship there.
Yeah, it's probably the most beautiful small town in America.
Well, as I said before, we need somebody at the top of the ticket that can win. Not somebody who could just get the Republican votes. We need somebody that can actually get the independents, the non-affiliateds, and pull some Democrats over. I feel I can do that. I've worked with all groups of people. I listen well. And so with the governor's race coming in, 2022 is our time to win like never before. The wave is coming. We saw in Virginia. We got to listen to the folks. We got to listen to the parents. We got to fix the education system, which is a state issue. But on the federal side of things, do we really need Department of Education in the federal system? That's something to look at. But again, I want your vote. I want your support. I will come visit with you. If you have a group or a meeting or something going on, contact me. Harbick for USSenate.com, a short 2-minute video. There's a place on there to donate. Yes, we need money to win. And then Harbick for Oregon is our Facebook page, and we post just about every day. And I'd really encourage you to go and like it, follow it, hear about where we're at and what we're doing. Republicans and non-affiliates, we need to get together. We cannot continue to live the way things are going right now. And so check me out. I'm an open book. I'd love to visit with anybody. So please give me a holler, shout out, and I'd love to visit more.